was built for coronavirus. I am such a homebody. Like,
that's good.
Like my buddy, this isn't quite as extreme for me, but my buddy, he had a really funny comment. He said, you know, something's wrong with your life when there's a global pandemic happening and literally nothing about your life changes.
That's like impressive almost.
You know, he's got 2 cats at home. He plays a lot of video games. He works he's like a lawyer and he works from home. Like nothing in his life has changed except like he has to wear a mask when he goes and gets cat food, you know. But for me, it's the same. Like I play a lot of video games. I stay at home and I work on a lot of music in my studio. I'm making a video game right now. Like it's all very indoor. So my life really is not affected a lot.
Yeah. No, actually, that was going to be the first question I had as far as formal interview. Yeah, because I'm just so interested at like how you have to like creatively shift, you know, to feel like you're staying busy and feel like you're staying productive. Like what are people even doing right now?
I mean, it's for me, I'd be doing the same shit. I just have way more time to do it now. You know, like what's the date? It's the 28th. If this were reality, I would have just been playing a dress rehearsal show in Massachusetts to get ready for this big tour. And now I'm just at home so I can work on music. You know, I just have so much more time. Yeah,
totally. I'm also so interested about your video game stuff. I just think that's wild. Because I also have started learning Unity, and it's hard.
Oh, you use Unity?
Yeah.
That's what I've been using too, and it is so hard. The learning curve is pretty steep. It's, you know, it's like any project. If you're making music or making a video game, it's crazy steep. Yeah. What are you trying to make?
I made a game, like a platformer that I started out with, and now it's ambitious, but I'm trying to use photogrammetry, which is like you can use your phone and make like 3D scans about empty places that are all empty now, and make it like Slender Man, pretty much.
You successfully completed the platform game?
Yeah. Finished it a couple weeks ago, actually.
No, congratulations. Well, so like, did you teach yourself how to code in C# using like YouTube videos or? I taught myself Java way back in the day. But now that I'm in school, they had a Unity class, and I was like, this is awesome. That's why I was like, yeah, it was great, but it took me months. That's why I was like, how did you just do that in like a month? You're crazy. Oh, I mean, I was working on it probably a lot more hours than you were. I mean, to learn how to code for C# from scratch and learn how to use Unity from scratch, just using YouTube videos. I mean, it's like kind of learn biochemistry by just reading a textbook and not being taught anything. Like it takes time. So I mean, I was in my room like literally 10 hours a day for a month straight on it. And like, but you say wow, but when you look at the final product, it's like, oh yeah, this guy had no clue what he was doing. You know, it's a terrible game, but at least I got something. You know, and I'm proud of something out. But clearly, I had no clue what I was doing, and it's just an awful experience. You know, you're pulling your hair out, writing lines of code. You're getting compiler errors. You don't know why. You just wish someone was sitting next to you and being like, "Oh, that actually needs something there. That should have done there." It would have been so nice to have. So this time around, making the video game, I do have that person, thankfully. I messaged Twitter and just asked, does anybody know how to code in Unity, or does anybody want to help me with this video game? And, you know, a lot of people got back to me that just were around and don't know shit. But one person got back to me, and her name's Emmy, and she's a fantastic person, extremely patient with me because I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm doing. And she has helped me an incredible amount, and she's going to continue helping to the end of this game, it seems like. And because of that, I'm able to have much more of an ambitious idea. Because before I didn't really have an idea of what the game was going to be. It was sort of just like what I was capable of coding. And on this time around, it's like, okay, well, I have an idea now, and I don't know how to do it, but Emmy does. And so Emmy can now take my idea and kind of put it onto paper. It'll still be a simple game. It'll be nothing crazy, but because it's like just a couple people working on it, but it's going to be a lot more interesting than the first one, that's for sure.
That's so cool. Is it does it have anything to do like the last one with your music, or is it more a standalone?
Oh no, it's totally connected. So the idea behind this new album is well, okay, so it's kind of one story. So the idea behind the album is the last album, the band wrote a sophomore slump album, right? The beginning of the album starts with sophomore slump. It's about how this, the album's going to suck. And frankly, the album was worse than the first. There's no doubt about it. So this third album is hopefully, I still have to talk to Chris Lombardi and ask him if he's willing to do this. But this third album is going to start with Chris Lombardi giving a phone call or something along those lines and saying to the group, the last album flopped. We spent millions of dollars in advertising. You guys suck. And basically physically threatening us, telling us he's going to kill us if we don't write an album full of straight up bangers that make him millions of dollars. So Chris Lombardi, I don't know if you know who he is. He's the head or co-president of Matador Records. He's like literally our current label exec. And so he's going to hopefully play the part, and he'll be playing himself in like a comedic, antagonistic way. And so the album will be based around that. And the video game is going to be called Lombardi's World instead of Cossett's World. And Lombardi's World is going to be, hopefully, if we can do it, MMO. So it'll be a single dedicated server with all the players in one server. And it'll be just kind of like a hangout, you can chat kind of area, things to explore around the world. And then at a certain time, every day, there'll be a spawn-in event where Chris Lombardi, as a boss character, will spawn into the map, and the entire server has to fight to kill him.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And that also sounds way more complicated. As far as like using online stuff.
Writing code and making a game online is apparently really complicated. I was told there's a guy named Ben Walker that helped me optimize the last game. He's like a literal professional game dev. And I consulted with him on this one, and he told me this can't really be done with a team of less than 10 people because netcode is extremely hard to write. And I just said, no, we're still going to give it a shot. And Emmy seems to think it's doable. We both might be in way over our heads, but she's extremely talented, so I trust her. But, we're going to give it a shot, and if it works, it'll be hilarious. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know that there's like things that are helpful. I was looking at online stuff earlier in the year, but it is very over my head. So I wish you luck.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff's all over my head. So like kind of how we've split up the workload between Emmy and I is I get to do all the fun stuff and she gets to do all the stuff that's hard. So like I get to make the environment. I get to put the trees where I want them and the bushes and the rock. And then she has to make the characters do things. She has to write the hard code. She has to write the net code. Not to say that I'm not coding a little bit. I'm learning and she's teaching me and I'm doing as much as I can. But she'll surely be doing the heavy lifting on this game. And so, if anybody sees this, the credit for the game can truly go to her if this succeeds.
That's cool. So how much time are you dedicating to it now? Is it still like 10 hours a day that you do, or is it less? Or
no. Do music too. I've been streaming on Twitch and having people watch me make tracks on Twitch. So I'm still currently working on the album simultaneously. So it's kind of, I feel like I put a little too much on my plate, honestly, because I've got the music that I'm trying to finish and the game simultaneously. And I did this to myself last time too. I always do this. And so it's very, very frustrating, and I'm very anxious, all the time. I feel like I need to be working on stuff, but I would say I put in, 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours a day on the game, and then, 3 something hours on the music. I just started working on the game, so I feel like I'm working on that more than the music now, but, hopefully I can find a good balance eventually.
Totally. And I don't know if you can speak on it, so it's okay if you can't, but I was wondering if you would be willing to speak about the new album, or maybe the concept of Double Barrel Boys at all?
Oh, the album? Well, okay, so Double Barrel Boys is, as far as I'm concerned, probably not going to happen. It was an idea I had. The song Double Barrel Boys I made. We toured on it. I don't know if you've heard it, but I thought it was hilarious. Maybe we'll put it out as a joke at some point. And we had these ideas surrounding the concept of what the Double Barrel Boys would be, and I sort of lost steam on it, and I'm kind of more into the One Trait Bangers idea now. So we'll see what happens with the DBB, but as far as I'm concerned in the moment, probably nothing. But the concept of the third album, One Trait Bangers, is, like I said, Lombardi's threatening the group with physical acts of, violence if they don't produce the best album he's ever heard. And I'm sort of thinking it'll be like, starting off with a phone call mentioning like, you guys got to try new things. Like, you got to break into the market abroad. So maybe I'll make a song about London. You gotta try new genres. So like I was working on a country song for the Twitch stream, which is funny because it's not a country song at all. It just has themes of country songs and cowboys, but it's totally still an EDM dubstep song, which I think is hilarious. And so like Lombardi will sort of set the stage for this like sort of amalgamation of different songs by basically saying, you got to try this, you got to try this. He'll say, you need to do a collaboration track. And so the idea would be Kurt Vile would be, he's supposed to come over and work on a track with me, and he never shows up. And it's an EDM song about how you're so excited for Kurt to get there, and then you get really because he doesn't show up. And I actually just emailed his manager today to see if he would be willing to be on this album, either leaving a message telling the guys like to stop calling him, he's never going to collaborate with them, or I was asking if he's willing to actually collaborate on a track, because if he does, it would make it so much funnier if he actually showed up on the album. People would lose their minds. Like, how did these get him? So I went through the label and I got them to hook me up with their manager's number or email. So I actually just sent an email today. Haven't heard back yet. I'd honestly be surprised if I do, but that would be great. So, it's things like that. It'll be sort of a concept of how do you make a hit album, and all the while there's this antagonistic record label threatening you in the background.
Cool. Do you think that people are more willing to collaborate now that they're like kind of at a standstill?
That's exactly what I said in the email today. I might have been forward, but I was like, Kurt's not doing anything. Like, he's got time for this. We'll see if that pisses him off. But that's how I feel. I feel like I could get him.
Get him. Cool.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say. So it seems like you have it pretty much all figured out. When you think of like the concept for an album, do you find that it kind of comes to you all at once, or is it more of like a piece by piece process where like you randomly?
This one piece. I mean, the other concepts like One Trait High. Well, there was just a bunch of songs that I made, and Will came up with an idea of how we could stitch them together. Same with the second album, except a few songs we recorded with an idea in mind. This first one I've really thought about a little bit more, though I guarantee, because Will and I, we don't see each other because it's bonus season, so I guarantee when I show this to Will and I pitch him my idea, he'll poke 50 holes in it, and what I'm telling you right now will be totally different than what it's going to be. He'll always have a different idea, and he's usually right because he's got the bigger picture mind. So I'm guessing he'll have revisions to this idea, but I think we've got a good start here.
Yeah, I had a similar question on that because I know the project is you and Will's thing, but does Seth or Ethan ever creatively collaborate on One Trait songs?
I wish they would. I try to get them to. It's mostly me pulling teeth on tour to get them to do stuff. Ethan's a really good sport. If I put a microphone in front of him and say, yell this into it, he'll do it. But in terms of him wanting to participate in the songwriting, no, not really. He's got his own project that he's working on. And, it would be awesome if he would, but I'm also totally happy to settle for him just being able to contribute anything that I ask him to do. And same with Seth. Like Seth, I don't know if you noticed, but on God, what's the name of the song? It's like Festival Headliner. It's the one that's talking about the XX on World Tour. Seth actually plays the female voice on that, and I just put a microphone in his face and I said, just like, whisper this, and he'll do it too. And he played bass on oh, actually, and stuff like that. Like, yeah, everyone contributes. But yeah, in terms of creatively, I mean, I'm doing, 95% of the production. We'll do a little bit, but it's really me making tracks or making loops or ideas, and then Will, being a great songwriter, will morph them into actual songs. Because that's something I struggle with. I struggle with music theory. I'm terrible at writing chords, so I'll be like, hey, Will, write chords for me, and then I'll make them into a song. Or, hey, Will, I got this loop. How do we turn this into an actual track? That's kind of where the collaboration comes in.
Totally. And I know that you have an interest in EDM, and I've been like, improving on, your skills and that stuff. Have you ever, I don't know if you see it more as just like staying in this realm of comedic side project, or do you think that you'd ever, progress to it to be, I don't know, something else in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about making more serious EDM. I mean, I had like an old project called Cunnally that was just like, straight up EDM songs, but it was where I was just starting to produce, so they suck. But I mean, sort of why One Trade Danger needs to be comedic is because the music isn't quite there. It's not worth listening to without the comedy. And so like, until I feel like my songwriting ability or my skills have advanced to, writing real songs, I don't think so. But here's the thing, like, as Car Seat and One Trade Danger slowly become this merged thing, kind of like what Madlow is becoming, anytime I'm producing a really good track, it might just become a Car Seat track at that point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, because Car Seat is moving slowly toward electronic, you'll see a track on Madlow, I think it's called Deadline's Thoughtful. That is essentially like a ripped 1TD beat. I won't say what song, you'll have to see for yourself, but like, it's essentially a 1TD song that has been morphed into a Car Seat song with Car Seat lyrics and Car Seat structure. But like, the synths are all the same, the sounds are all the same, the soundscape is the same, the drums are the same. And like, as songs become good enough for Will to go, oh, that could be cool, that could be a Car Seat song, I think the serious stuff will just be Car Seat.
That's kind of cool to be able to bounce off each other like that. One thing I was curious about, like, do you have a preference of when you're like producing the music or performing the music? Like, which one you like better?
Ooh, good question. I mean, in terms of longevity, producing for sure, but you can't really beat the high of playing in front of thousands of people and watching them enjoy it, Both have the pros and cons, but it's like, one of them is marijuana, one of them's crack cocaine. They're pros and cons.
Kind of talking about what you had mentioned previously about this morphing of, One Trade Danger and Car Seat in the newest album. I was wondering if, because of that, you're getting a lot more focus and coverage on One Trade Danger. So I was wondering if you think that'll affect the direction One Trade Danger is going in the future, if it'll have an influence on that.
I think the only influence it'll have is we can talk less and less. The more famous you get, the less okay it is to talk. It's funny to say, take jabs at the XX, but when you're as big as the XX, obviously it's never going to happen. But if you were to be as big as the XX and then you're talking shit about them, you look like an asshole. It's only funny when the underdog is doing it, right? And so I think that's really the only effect. I mean, in terms of us around and making weird, I don't think that'll ever change for One Trade Danger. I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's becoming sort of trash car songs that will make the cut, so we just make them funny. That won't change. But yeah, the poking fun, it will start to morph. You have to start being more conscientious of it, the more fans you get.
Would you say that reverse side, would you say that you had more influence on this newest album than maybe albums in the past then, because of this morphing?
Oh, Madlow, the Car Seat album?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Will still produced most of it, but I produced a decent amount of it. I mean, we basically polish the entire thing in my bedroom. Like he would come over every day and we would work on it. We would mix it. I'd do little production things to it. So, I mean, my input is definitely there. My influence is definitely there. Yeah.
Totally.
This is not on the topic that we were previously talking about, but just a general question that I'm always curious about, because I like knowing people's favorite like movies or just a movie that's important to you. So do you have like one that stands out?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Superbad is my favorite.
Nice.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is because, I mean, it's still a great movie either way, but I think a big part of that is because it came out when I was like 16 or 17 or right around that age of the people in the film. And it's like, I saw so much of myself.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like just so vulgar, loud-mouthed, you know, just around. It was just, it struck so many chords. And so, yeah, just a lifelong favorite.
Would you say that you have kind of similar, do you have any like TV shows or movies that have influenced your music, possibly?
No. No, I wouldn't say that. It's funny, I to bounce off that, I was doing this weird Instagram live interview with this guy from like TRL. Somehow he found out about One Trade Danger and he asked for us to come on. And so I went and did it. And one of the first things he said to me, I'm gonna try to remember exactly what he said. He goes, it's so wild. Your music sounds like it has no inspiration or and he didn't mean it negatively, but like it comes up so negatively. And I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever heard. That's like the dig you could possibly give. And he had no idea he was even digging me. But I mean, he's kind of right. The music is just, it really doesn't come from much. I mean, like EDM music in general is an inspiration, but lyrically, you know, almost nothing. Maybe a little Weird Al, Tenacious D, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like fat beats from Skrillex, you know?
Yeah, kind of on that note, this might be treading dangerous water, but I know that some people have, you know, on that same line said that you kind of sound inspired by Lonely Island, which I've heard that you haven't liked. And I was wondering if you could talk about it.
I don't like that because I don't really like Lonely Island. I think I liked them when, I don't know if you remember that like TV show they had like a really long time ago, like just like really weird sketches. And like, you know, the song, like, we're just two dudes and we're having a good time. Like, that song's kind of funny. And then once they started doing, like, I just had sex and it felt so good, like, it felt pandering to me. And the songs are catchy. They're well produced. Clearly, they're working with someone really good. And that's how you get critical acclaim, is you make a song that's interesting to the masses. But I liked just two guys in the pool having a party, that kind of stuff, which most people don't even remember because it's a very forgetful song. So like when I'm compared to Lonely Island, I feel like I'm being compared to what they currently are, or what they were when they were still making stuff, and I just don't like it. I'd prefer to be, you know, compared to like Tenacious D or, you know, something Weird Al, something like that. Someone that I respect, you know.
Totally.
Oh, I guess one question, well, because one thing, because as just an art person in general, when you get kind of like an artist block, do you have any like certain things that you do in order to like overcome that, or what's your process?
Yeah, the only way to overcome artist block is struggle and be mad and upset, and then just stop. You just got trying, because when you try to push it, it gets terrible. So you gotta just take a break. Go for a walk, go do something else that can bring some sort of inspiration, and also be prepared to completely ditch an idea. I mean, early One Trait, no ideas were ditched, and you can tell. I think as the project gets better and better, you need to learn to look at a track and go, that sucks, and then throw it away, you know?
Oh, actually, I did have a question. It is unrelated though, but I wanted to ask about, because Will's got that, like, you know, mask new look going on that he's talked about. And I was wondering, because he's mentioned how it's helpful with stage fright or just having fun and kind of enjoying and being freeing. And I was wondering if you like share any of that mentality when you're on stage.
Yeah, I think I would probably be, in certain ways, more comfortable wearing a mask. Just like even very surface level stuff, like I don't need to be smiling if I don't feel like smiling. Like your face can be whatever you want it to be and no one can tell. And then there's like this weird sense of anonymity, even though people know who you are, like you feel protected. It's like wearing sunglasses, you know, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced that phenomenon, but when you're wearing sunglasses, like it feels way easier to make eye contact for some reason. Like because they can't see your eyes, like you feel free and not looked on, you know, it's this weird feeling. And I think the mask, you know, I can see how the mask would help that. Personally, I don't mind showing my face on stage. I don't have stage fright or anything like that. And I honestly don't think Will is like has stage fright, like he can't perform. Clearly that's not true. But yeah, it could just be, you know, extra comfort and a new look too. But I mean that's really a question for him. Yeah, it's his deal and I support it. And I understand parts of it for sure.
Totally. That's about all the questions and stuff I had. I don't know if there's anything you want to add or plug that we didn't get to talking about.
Yeah, no, I mean, just go when the new album comes out. God knows when it's going to, but the new album, the new game, got to check them out. Shout out to Emmy. Thanks for helping me with the video game. Yeah, and cool. Great questions, guys. That was fun.